The cancer survivorship journey starts with a diagnosis. That diagnosis, those words, can be the most upsetting words of someone's life. They are often come out of the blue. No one ever feels like they're going to be diagnosed with a cancer. Despite the fact that 1 in 2 men and 1 in 3 women are diagnosed with cancer, everyone thinks it's the 1 in 2 on that side of me. When it happens, it's usually out of the blue. Life is chaos, and we bring with it our biases of what life will be. So I'm going to post our first prompt. And this question, and the questions are also in your program. So if you have trouble seeing them up there, you will see them in your program. So how much did cancer change your way of thinking? Number 1, none. Number 2, a little. Number 3, a lot. And number 4, cancer changed everything.
Let me run through a field in the night. Let me lift from the ground till my soul is in flight. Let me sway like the shade of a tree. Let me swirl like a cloud in a storm on the sea. Wish me on my way through the dawning day. I wanna flow, wanna rise, wanna spill, wanna grow in a grove on the side of a hill. I don't care if the trains run late, if the checks don't clear, if the house blows down. I'll be off where the weeds run wild, where the seeds fall far from this earthbound town. And I start to soar. Watch me rain till I pour high. Catch a ship that'll sail me astray. Get caught in the wind, I just have to obey. Till I'm flying away. Without wondering why, finding myself in a burst for the sky. The sound of the sea in a shell. I don't know, but maybe I'm just a fool. I should keep to the ground. I should stay where I'm at. Maybe everyone has hunger like this, and the hunger will pass, but I can't think like that. All I know is somewhere through a clearing, there's a flickering of sunlight on a river long and wide. And I have such a river inside. Let me run through a field in the night. Let me lift from the ground till my soul is in flight. Let me sway like the shade of a tree. Let me swirl like a cloud in a storm on the sea. Wish me on my way through the dawning day. Wanna flow, wanna rise, wanna spill, wanna grow on the side of a hill, wanna shift like a wave rolling on, wanna drift from the path I've been traveling upon before I am gone.
Thank you. I love that one. If you haven't noticed, there are tissues in your bags. That's a tissue song. So let's see what people think. Last night, it was overwhelming that cancer diagnosis changed everything. It was about 80%. Ha-ha. So this is good. So the interesting part is how people are viewing their journey. I always marvel at those people who haven't found any significant change. And they're usually guys, the ones that I've seen, that just kind of go through and, blinders on, like we do, just kind of keep walking. And, I have to do what I have to do, so I'll just go ahead and do that. I'm going to share with you my story, and then I'll invite you to share yours. I'm not a cancer survivor. I'm a caregiver, not only as a medical caregiver, but at home as well. And our caregiving journey, or our cancer journey, began about 7 years ago when I got a call at work, usually at work. And my wife said, "Will you please just hang up the phone, go into your office, and I'll call you back." And I said, "I'm like 45 minutes behind," right? Anybody who's been in my, an hour, 45 minutes. I said, I don't have time. So she said, "Can you just do that for me?" So I said, "Yes, dear," which I need to say more of. And I went back and into my office and took the call. And the call was sort of following up from, she had not been feeling well for the past several months and missed some family events, and our Duracell bunny began to need some batteries changed. She was always the one who kept everything going and was struggling to do so. In our sort of early to mid 40s, this was just kind of unusual. However, kids were going everywhere, and as you carry them from one place to another and do all their events, you kind of get tired. So we blamed it on that. As it turned out, it wasn't. The call I got began, "Your wife has leukemia." So this was not kind of what I was thinking. I knew leukemia well. My uncle had been diagnosed with leukemia 20 years prior, and his was a very difficult journey. He lived for 3 years after his diagnosis, and he was a big, burly truck mechanic. He was in his 40s as well. His children, his son was about 16, the same age as our kids. So there were many, many parallels. My Uncle Murph was a practical joker. He was the crazy guy in the family that could always make someone laugh. He and his truck mechanic friends at the garage used to always play jokes on each other. And one of them was when he and his friend, or he had heard that his friend Mooney was in the bathroom. So he's like, "I'm going to play a trick on Mooney." So Mooney's in the men's room. So he takes not one firecracker, but a whole pack of firecrackers, throws them underneath, right? So, and who comes out? Not Mooney. Not his friend Mooney, but Moonies. Like, that was in the 80s when there were a lot of Moonies around, so all the orange robes came flying out and bald heads, and they never came back. So if you need something. And the other one they did was, this is a great one. Someone would bring Dunkin' Donuts in, and they'd all be gone before. There was one guy eating them all. So they said, "All right, we're going to play a trick on him." So they called Dunkin' Donuts, and they said, "We need a dozen jelly donuts without the jelly." And they said, All right. So has anyone ever seen truck grease? It's red, isn't it? Yeah. So, so they got him. He never ate all the donuts again and spent same time in the bathroom with all the fireworks. So this was the uncle that I knew. The uncle who became was very different. He became very frail. He was on a lot of treatment for a short period of time, and even clinical trials. And as he went through this, I saw his family come apart. My job as the older cousin to my younger cousin was to help to get him through this, and I had no idea what to do. I was clueless in that. I was in my late teens, early 20s. So I brought all of this home with my wife's diagnosis, and I knew how this would be. I did a Google search before I came back. It said everything that I knew, nothing had changed, and I walked into this with my hopes left behind. So my first entrance to this journey as we were going on was to say, I know where this is going. I've traveled it before. I know what life will be. So we planned to go in anticipation of my wife losing her hair. We went to the hairdresser and who came up with this plan on how we're going to deal with the hair loss. She gave us a book, and it was a breast cancer survivorship book. It had breast prostheses on one side and wigs on the other. So I was looking through and I said, hey, Julie, what about these? And she said, you're in the wrong section of the book. Stick to the task. No one was happy, but I thought it was really funny. The interesting part, though, with new treatments and new diagnosis, in fact, new diagnoses or new treatment plans that were made from some of the clinical trials that my uncle was on, there was a newer drug that wasn't out in Google yet, a drug called imatinib, which Julie takes every day and has for the past 7 years, still with her hair, and life returned to normal. And I didn't have hope that may happen. I got hope from you guys. So it was my patients who said, you have today, you are guaranteed today, live it. So we did, and we learned, after a while, 1 day becomes 2 days, becomes a week, and 7 years. So I thank you for all you've given me on our journey. I wouldn't have made it without you. I love this quote from Viktor Frankl. Does anyone know who Viktor Frankl is? He's a Holocaust survivor that wrote a fairly short book about life's meaning and how we find life's meaning. And he says, when we are no longer able to change a situation, we are challenged to change ourselves.